Interest rates are a lot higher, so it's harder now for buyers to get homes. If you're an individual that's looking to sell your home, you're probably getting a little nervous because your home is sitting on the market a little bit longer than normal. Individuals like myself who are real estate professionals having a tough time getting, their next deal, in some cases their first deal. And I want to walk through how to navigate the current environment. We got to figure this thing out. So stay tuned. All right, we are back with another podcast episode, and I wanted to pop in here and do this podcast solo for today because I'm getting a lot of questions, comments, concerns, especially in everything that we're dealing with currently in this market. Sounds like, man, I need to go ahead and do a podcast on this topic, and that is the amount of individuals that are not only burning out from real estate, they can't get a deal to save their life because, especially on the buyer side, interest rates are a lot higher. So it's harder now for buyers to get homes. If you're an individual that's looking to sell your home, you're probably getting a little nervous because your home is sitting on the market a little bit longer than normal. If you did sell your home, now you're going to go from paying 2%, an interest rate of 2 to 4% to now paying upwards of 6 to 7%. It's causing a lot in our industry, and the data shows that we are normalizing, as a real estate market. That doesn't mean that folks aren't hurting, especially individuals like myself who are real estate professionals and having a tough time getting, their next deal, in some cases their first deal. And I want to walk through how to navigate the current environment that we're dealing with, because I'm in the trenches. Your uncle, your boy, your brother, I am in the trenches with you. But now, as the listener, you got the juice now, like the old movie with Tupac and Omar Epps. And your job is to take this thing to the next level and then pay it forward. So we're walking through the current environment that we are in right now as real estate professionals. So I'm going to kind of wear two hats here for today's podcast. I'm going to wear the hat of a real estate professional and how to navigate everything going on. And then I'm going to wear the hat of a buyer or seller in this market, because at one point in time, I was one of those three people. Currently, as both a homeowner and a real estate investor, I am looking to buy properties, and the numbers are just a little wonky right now. It's not as much meat on the bone, especially with interest rates being where they are. It's not as much meat on the bone as it relates to cash flow on a property as it was this time a year ago or 2 years ago. But the first hat that I'm going to wear is going to be my real estate professional hat, or real estate agent. You're part of this channel because more than likely you are a real estate professional, maybe a real estate agent, a loan officer. Gosh, we got quite a few people that subscribe to this channel, and I appreciate it. So I want to ask you, and let me know in the comments below, how are you navigating what's going on right now? Are you optimistic? Are you working your systems and your daily activities, making those calls in your CRM, doing the door knocking? The weather's a lot warmer in a lot of places in the United States. And of course, it's warm everywhere else in the world for the most part. But are you still maintaining your daily activities, or are you using the fact that we are coming, still in a little bit of winter left, and allowing that to keep you from doing the things that you do on a day-to-day basis to build your business? And now that we're in the environment that we're in right now, those deals are getting harder and harder to find. Those clients are getting harder and harder to find. You're finding that you're having to spend a lot more money on your marketing efforts, your lead generating sources. If you're like me, I do 98% of my marketing using social media, @Sold by Marvin on all platforms. Please follow me there. And so for that, I don't pay anything. But there are instances where I may run ads. I'm finding those to be less and less effective in the current world that we're in right now. But I have to always be marketing in some capacity. So for me, I leverage YouTube and social media as a way to reach one to many individuals, along with making my calls and things of that nature. But my main advertising source is going to be the absolutely free platform of YouTube, and then Instagram, TikTok, and that's kind of the order of operations. But in the current season that we're in, Obviously, when I was a lot busier, when the market was red hot, listings was moving like hotcakes. Buyers were able to, at least the way that I was structuring my offers, buyers that were working with me and my team, we were getting our offers accepted, and it was averaging 1 to 2 closings per month, which here in Georgia, that's actually a really good thing. Your market may be a little bit different, but I consider a solid year from anyone on my team to have 1 to 2 closings per month. That's our average as a team. And so now that the market is, where it is right now, of course, we're seeing more of a normalcy with home prices. Sellers are getting a lot more realistic in their expectations because their home is sitting on the market a lot longer. Offers are generally getting accepted at asking price, and in most instances, at least again, with the way that we negotiate deals, we're getting huge concessions, closing costs being covered, warranties being offered, things of that nature. So many of my buyers are, if not, paying very much down. In some cases, they're actually walking away with a check at closing. I literally have had quite a few circumstances like that. So that's a more normal market where you're not offering well above asking price. But the problem now, especially with the fact that we are in a higher interest rate market, and according to the Fed, they may raise rates one more time this year. Money is very, very expensive right now. And so a $100,000 home, for example, cost a lot more per month now than that $100,000 home cost during the pandemic. So obviously you'll hear a lot of agents say, well, marry the rate, date the house, marry the rate, or marry the rate, date the rate, marry the house. That's what it is. And so they'll tell you, yeah, you can just refinance later and you'll be fine. Just still buy the house. But for me, I'm not in any way, and this is just the way I run my business. Everybody's different, but I am not a transactional real estate agent. I want you to be happy with that house for a number of reasons. I want you to have gotten a great deal on it, which is obviously my job as a real estate investor to let you know based on comps, data, the inner workings of the negotiation, the structure of the deal as it relates to the offer. I want you to know that you paid the best price possible for that home at this point in time. But in addition to that, I want you to actually love the home. Notice I said love the home, not like the home. So if you liked the home, but you still bought it, there's a strong possibility that there's going to be a level of regret, buyer's remorse, things of that nature, because you weren't really in love with the color. You weren't really in love with the flooring. You weren't really in love with the fact that, it only had 1.5 bathrooms instead of the 2 bathrooms you were hoping for. But you got it, at a great deal. And it was the only house available in the specific school system, for example, that you wanted your kids to go through. Well, now in this current market, you have your pick of the litter as far as houses. You can pretty much, if you have the budget for it, you can pretty much be in any neighborhood you'd like to be in at a certain price point, at a certain school system, in pretty much all markets. Now, obviously, you've got outlier markets like the Californias and the New Yorks. We're not talking about that. We're talking about middle of the road America, your Midwest, your down south, things of that nature. You have your pick of the litter as it relates to the house. But the problem in this current market is that interest rates are a lot higher now. So it's costing you more, at least for the foreseeable future, for that house that you love. So if you can cover the payments, obviously where things are now with interest rates, great. The payments are not a big deal. They don't blow up your budget. You're not house poor. No big deal. However, we don't know if we've reached the bottom as it relates to interest rates. So the longer you wait, the more expensive that house that you're interested in, or that neighborhood or the community or school system that you're interested in, could cost you. So it paid to wait. It cost you to wait, obviously, 2 years ago when interest rates were in the twos and money was dirt cheap, but there was a lot of fighting and multiple offer situations. Again, with other agents, not with your not with your bro. The way we were getting deals structured, we were making it happen, and it's a blessing. It's a your boy has this mouthpiece is a gift from God. I've been able to really make things happen and build relationships with other agents, which helped in a lot of ways because I was able to offer some intangible benefits of accepting our offers that other agents just quite frankly weren't able to get done, and it's truly a blessing. But with that, now in the current market that we're in, the downside of buying in this current market is that money is more expensive. So what are you going to do? So I think that it's very, very important to make sure that you're working with the right real estate professional, that real estate agent has the right lending team, and that if there are any and all down payment assistance programs that are out there, because every state has them. A couple of good ones that I like, one of them being the Chenoa program. That's something you want to look into. The NACA program, that's another down payment assistance program you want to look into. But in your specific city or state, there may be some even more beneficial down payment assistance programs that will lessen the burden as far as the amount of cash that you have to bring to the table. And some programs, even like the NACA, will give you a very, very competitive, and it almost guarantees a very competitive interest rate as long as you meet other requirements, which are not very difficult. And then in the future, should interest rates go down, of course, at that point, you can refinance, but at least you bought the home with as little money as possible. And that's going to be the name of the game. Now, another thing that you can do in this current market is really look into seller financing. That is something that is available, to you as a real estate professional and a buyer, is to, if you have a situation where it's a for sale by owner kind of situation, and if that seller is willing to seller finance, maybe they just need to kind of get out from the payments that they're making on that program, on that mortgage. They need to get out from that home, and they just want to know that they're going to get a guaranteed source of income. I was talking about seller financing, but I leaned into what's called subject twos, which is going to be a different kind of conversation for a different podcast. But look into seller financing, because in some instances, your buyers may be able to get a better interest rate than, or at least better terms than if they were to go the traditional financing route. So that's another strategy and something that you may want to look into. If money is just too expensive right now, you might have a seller that says, hey, if we seller finance, of course, still go through a title company, still go through a closing attorney, all that jazz. But maybe they are willing to offer you an interest rate lower than the current interest rate now because the home's paid off, and they just want to know that they're getting the cash flow that they're looking for. Because believe it or not, everybody isn't looking to sell outright like you might think, especially if you're buying a home from an investor. 9 times out of 10, they're going to have to pay capital gains on that sale of their property. So it would be more advantageous for you and for them to seller finance to you. That way they spread out their tax liability over a stated period of time. So that's one strategy that you gotta look into, is seller financing on a home that you're particularly interested in, because you're working directly with that seller in getting the deal done. So are you a real estate agent looking to jumpstart your career? Join our online agent network and gain access to the support and resources you need to succeed. One of the most effective ways to attract clients in this industry is through social media. And I can tell you, in my entire time as a real estate professional, I have not knocked on one door, and yet I've still generated several $1 million worth of sales per year. And our team is here to help you do the same thing. Click the link in today's show notes today, or visit IamTheTribe.com to learn more about this amazing opportunity. Now back to the show. So with all that being said, as real estate professionals, you better make sure that you are still making your dials every single day at your power hour, whatever that time frame is. It could be from 8 to 11 or 9 till noon or something of that nature. I tend to like to make my calls in the morning with my cup of coffee, and I get after it as soon as I get back from the gym. Always try to start my day with physical activity, either the gym, yoga, something to get me in the right frame of mind. And then I bang out my calls for a period of time. And then The remainder of the afternoon is really just all about follow up and your other lead sources, creating your social media content, things of that nature. As real estate agents, you had better be on social media, because social media allows you to always be marketing yourself even when you're asleep. And YouTube is the only platform that I know that pays you to market your business. I don't know any other platform that will pay you as a content creator to market your business on another platforms, on another services platform. So that's game changing. And you might say, well, Marvin, I'm not really, I'm old school, man. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be having those conversations. I don't like talking to a camera. It's a little weird. It's a little awkward for me. Hey, man, I get it. I totally get it. But you got to choose your uncomfortable. For me, looking at my bank account getting to a dangerously low level, or having to put up with a certain level of nonsense in another area because I got to make this money. I'm of the mindset, to choose your uncomfortable. If you are awkward, or you feel like you're awkward on camera, or any number of things, what I tell you in my experience is 9 times out of 10, the thing that you are concerned about people noticing about you in a negative sense is very rarely noticed, believe it or not. So what I would tell you is to remember that this is now the new age of the digital door knock, where we're dealing with right now. My next buyer right now is probably getting ready to graduate from high school, and they are going to find my content on the platform that they're already on, which is TikTok, Instagram, and in most cases, YouTube. So I want to position myself when the market does turn around, because everything is in cycles anyway. I want to position myself as darndest as possible to be where my next client is going to be. And, it's not going to be on the door knocks. Yes, you can have success with that. Yes, you can have success with your cold calls, but I'd much rather, as not only a real estate professional, but a content creator, I would much rather build trust through platforms like YouTube or podcast. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, please give me a 5-star rating, by the way, on your favorite podcast platform. But I would much rather the trust that I'm gaining from you now by listening to this is probably one of several videos of mine that you've listened to, or one of several podcasts of mine that you've listened to. I'd much rather you begin to build that trust with me digitally. That way, when we actually talk on the phone, I will confirm the trust that you have already established with me when you talk to me on the phone, because in most cases, unless you call me on some foolishness or call my office on some foolishness, I am exactly what you see on YouTube. I am exactly what you are hearing on your favorite podcast. I am no nonsense. I want you to win in building wealth, whatever that is for you, whether that's investing, real estate, whatever the case is. And I like to do it with a little bit of humor. I am a faith-based real estate professional, so I'm unapologetic about that. For some people, that's off-putting. For some people, that's on-putting. And so my thing is to position myself, because this market is going to continue to do what this market is going to continue to do. I have to put myself in best position to continue to attract my tribe, and digitally is going to be the way that I'm able to do it. So that would be my suggestion for real estate professionals, is to just make sure that you are meeting as many people as possible, either in person, at the gym, at the grocery store, or at church, wherever, or digitally in a platform like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And the great thing, and you'll want to make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, because the great thing about how I run my business from an automation standpoint and a marketing standpoint is that I take one piece of content, and I'm going to show you how to do this if you're subscribed to my emails as well as subscribed to this channel. But I take one piece of content, and then I simply deploy it to multiple outlets such as TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, things of that nature, Facebook. But I record one piece of content. So for example, this podcast right now that you're watching or listening to, this is going to be clipped up. I'm taking the one day, today is content day, for example. So I'm going to take this podcast, I'm going to take various clips from it, and then I'm going to deploy it to all of the social media outlets. And in some cases, I may even run ads behind it. So I try to advise folks to work smarter, not harder, as real estate professionals. And that's the way that we are going to navigate this thing because, as I mentioned, it's getting harder and harder and harder to find clients or for clients to find you because there are lots and lots and lots of real estate agents out there. So for you that's watching or listening to this, you have to best position yourself as much as possible to cut through the noise and let your tribe find you. And if you're a buyer or a seller, you just have to make sure, as a buyer specifically, that you have your finger on the pulse with a real estate professional, which again, I'm covering the state of Georgia, the entire state of Georgia, but I personally have team members in all 50 states, as well as some international countries. So if you would like to find the Marvin of Florida or the Marvin of Louisiana, I got you covered. I got you covered. Reach out to me. Send me an email, info@marvinoria.com. You'll probably see that somewhere below. And let me make that connection to the right agent that has your best interest at heart, who has already been vetted by myself and my team. And the experience is going to be a great experience. That's my goal. And if you're a seller and you're afraid to sell your home, what I will tell you is to just work with a professional, find out how to best position your home to sell in an average amount of time. I wouldn't necessarily say sell it quickly, because if you want to sell it quickly in this current market, you're gonna have to offer it for less than asking price and throw in a lot of crazy concessions. But if you've got time on your side and you just want to know that you're not going to be stuck in a home longer than you need to be, well, that's very, very key in working with a professional to make sure that your home is priced right. You've made all of the necessary, high-end repairs, things that are, deferred maintenance. You've taken care of all of the deferred maintenance type of issues. You maybe worked with some home repair companies that will allow you to get the repairs done to your home, and then you don't have to pay them until after you close on the home. We have that within our team, so please reach out if that's something that you'd be interested in. But don't be afraid. Don't operate in fear whether you're a buyer. Don't operate in fear whether you're a seller. And definitely don't do it as a real estate professional and consider, getting rid of your license or quitting or jumping from, this firm to that firm to that firm. Because I said this the other day to my team, because I know in this current market, there are folks that, they haven't even closed their first deal since being licensed. And they may believe that they have to just go to another real estate company that's going to give them what they think they need. But, wherever you go, there you are. So if you don't have the right habits from a daily, weekly, and a monthly perspective, going to a different firm is not going to magically manifest. I don't believe in that word, but it's not going to magically give you what you think you need. Wherever you go, there you are. So at the end of the day, you got to get very intentional with yourself to make sure that you're putting the reps in and creating the content that your next buyer or seller is going to want to see when they decide they want to work with you, of all people, to show that you are informed about the market, you know what you're talking about, you're able to convey the confidence and inspire an individual to want to work with you, and that you've got a verifiable track record. You can, I say it very frankly, you can Google me and you can see what the track record has been with folks that have worked with myself and my team. And I'm proud of that because I stand behind that. I stand by my word. It's a brand like Pepsi, like Denzel Washington said in American Gangster. But stay encouraged, continue to do the work, and ultimately the excuses that you make are exactly that. They're just excuses. So either you're going to take what's going on right now and adjust your business and adapt to it, or you're going to make excuses as to why other people are able to get it done, but you're not. And again, whether you believe or not, the world will be as you assume it to be. And so my hope and my encouragement and my prayer is that this is the fire that you needed in your belly as a real estate agent. This is the fire that you needed in your belly as a buyer and a seller to know that you'll get through this. What you're dealing with is not a singularity in your life and your life only. Others are going through it in their own way. And we just all have to lean in as human beings, as professionals, and we will ultimately get to the promised land. So if you got value from today's podcast, I am so grateful. Let me know in the comments below what were one of your takeaways from today's show. I highly recommend that you plug in with me on social media at Sold by Marvin. If you are a real estate professional that is not with eXp and would like to explore why I moved my practice from another very popular company over to eXp and some of the other perks and benefits that you get by allowing me to officially partner with you as a real estate professional, I'd love to have that conversation. Click the link below to book a call in that capacity. And until the next podcast, this is your brother, your uncle, your boy Marvin, signing out.